Hey friends, so before we dive in today, I want to share something with you that I am so excited about. Illuminate You, the collective is back. It's 2 days in person in Murrells Inlet, South Carolina for the mompreneur, the female entrepreneur who wants to get clear, get confident, and get connected so that you can win at work without losing at home. So here's what those 2 days are going to look like. I want you to imagine walking in Thursday evening to a privately curated connection dinner at a beautiful upscale restaurant where we will have our own private space. You'll be greeted with a fun mocktail, signature mocktail, and a welcome gift. But most importantly, this night is about you being surrounded by women who get it. Women who are building businesses and building lives as moms, as wives, and the person that everyone else looks to. And by the end of this evening, all the walls have already come down and you are ready for Friday. So Friday, we're going to spend a full day understanding your personality blueprint, which is how you're naturally wired in your decision making, what your superpower is. What are the things that naturally drain your energy and naturally give you energy? What does your communication and leadership style look like at its best? From there, we're going to create plans personalized for you around all of that so you can go home and implement on Monday morning and know exactly what to focus on. So this is happening on August 27th and 28th. I'm limiting it to 20 women to keep it intimate. And the first 10 who register get 2 private one-on-one sessions with me as a bonus. So one before the event and one after. And a few of those are already gone. So I want you to go to the link in the show notes, or you can go to martinewilliams.com/the collective 2026. Save your spot. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to the Life Coaching for Mompreneurs podcast, where you will learn simple solutions to win at work without losing at home. Hi, my name is Martine Williams, and I am your host and CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer. And this podcast is your one-stop shop to creating a burnout-proof life and business by elevating your clarity, confidence, and courage. Friends, it's time to say goodbye to being the yes girl, to procrastinating on your goals and living in overwhelm. And it's time to say hello to creating healthy boundaries, healthy mindsets, and healthy habits so that you can achieve work-life harmony. Your next breakthrough starts here. This is the Life Coaching for Mompreneurs podcast. Let's do this. Hey friends, welcome back to the show. I have been fighting off an illness all week, so my voice sounds a little different than normal, but I'm excited to dive into today's episode that is really inspired by a leadership event that I was at, where the guy came in and was talking about self, right? And managing self. And one of the things that we've been doing over the last couple of weeks is or I shouldn't say the last couple of weeks, we've been doing this for the last, really since the first of the year. Like, what's the scorecard? So we have a scorecard on different areas of our life. And you've heard me talk about this. It's similar to the life audit, but not exactly. But each time he reminds us that you can't rate yourself a 7. And I've never really thought about it in the way that he presented it or had someone say this to me, but it makes so much sense to me. So at the collective and in my one-on-one coaching, we go through a life audit where you're rating from a scale of 1 to 10, the different key areas of your life. You've heard me talk about this on the podcast before, but it's really helped me to kind of think about the answers that my clients give. And so I want to talk about it on the podcast today, because if I asked you to rate your life just overall right now on a scale of 1 to 10, what number would you give it? Not the number you think you should give it because you have so much to be grateful for. Not the number that looks good from the outside. Like, what is the honest number right now? And maybe it's a 7. Maybe that's the number that comes to mind. Things are good. Your business is doing okay. Your family is good. You have people who you love. You feel loved. You've accomplished things you're proud of. Nothing is necessarily wrong, but you know it could be better. And I think this is where so many of us, I wouldn't say get stuck. I would say get comfortable. Because when life is a 3, we do something about it, right? Like, you can't ignore a 3. But when life is a 7, we tolerate it. And we tell ourselves that we should be grateful. We say, it's fine, I'm fine, and then we keep going. So today I want to ask you a different question. If your life is a 7, what's keeping you from being a 10? What would it look like to be a 10? These are questions that I ask my one-on-one clients and what I ask the ladies at the collective. Because you don't have to wait until something is falling apart to decide you want something more. Like, I want to give you permission today to go for the 10. And the 10 doesn't mean perfection, but like, I want you to think of just complete contentment. Like, you just feel like you're successful in this area, you're fulfilled in this area. And as high achievers, there's always something, right, that we're thinking or feeling like or believing that we can learn and adapt and grow in. And while I think that's true too, you can also find a level 10 contentment with where you are. But I want to start there because I know what some of you are thinking already. Martine, my life is good, like good. This conversation isn't about convincing yourself that something is wrong when it isn't. I just want you to be honest. You can love your husband and want more connection in your marriage, right? You can love your business and realize the way you're running it isn't working for you anymore. You can adore your kids and also want something that's just yours. You can be grateful for your health and know you haven't been taking care of yourself the way you want to. You can have great friends and still crave deeper connection. You can be successful and still want more fulfillment. Gratitude and desire are not necessarily opposites. Being grateful for what you have does not mean you have to stop wanting to grow or wanting more or wanting something to be different. It doesn't mean that you're ungrateful for what you already have when you have a desire for more, a desire for a 10. And I think sometimes we use gratitude like against ourselves, like almost as a reason to tell ourselves the truth. Like, I shouldn't complain. Other people have it so much worse. I have a good life. And all of that might be true, 100%. And be thankful for that. But I'm not asking you what's wrong with your life. I'm asking you, what do you want from it? And those are two very different questions. So here's where I want you to get practical a little bit with me, because saying my life is a 7 doesn't actually tell us very much, right? So when my clients rate the number, they give me a number, it's a starting point. But your life isn't one thing, right? So let's break it apart. Think about the major areas of your life. And this is similar to the life audit. Like, you have your work or your business, you have your marriage or your relationship, you have your family. That would include like your extended family, your kids, your friends, your friendships and connections there, your mental health, your physical health, your spirituality, your finances, your personal development, your fun. And if you were doing one of those, if you were doing a life audit of those areas, what number would you give each one? And don't overthink it. Like, as I was saying those different areas, what comes up for you? What number comes up for you? And maybe your business is a 9, but your health is a 5. Maybe your family is a 9, but your fun meter is like non-existent. It's not even on the chart. Maybe your career is an 8, but your energy is a 4. Maybe everything is hovering around a 7 because the 7 is the comfortable number. It's not too bad. It's not too good. It's right in the middle. But that's all information. And the question I want you to ask about every number that isn't where you want it to be is, what's keeping this from being better? Not what's wrong with me, not why can't I get my act together? What's keeping that number from being even just one number greater? And be honest with your answer. I think we are really good at turning every problem into another thing to do. Like, if your health is a 6, you're like, add a workout routine. Marriage is a 7, schedule some more date nights. Business is a 7, buy another course. If your, physical energy is down, create a better morning routine. And maybe some of those are the answers. But what if getting from a 7 to a 9 isn't about adding something? What if it's about subtraction? What if it's about removing something? Maybe you need to stop saying yes when you mean no. Maybe we need to have the conversation that we've been avoiding that's causing mental drain. Maybe we need to make a decision that we've been researching for 6 months and we're putting it off because we don't feel ready. Maybe we need to ask for help. Maybe we need to stop expecting ourselves to be good at everything. Maybe we need to protect an hour of your day instead of filling every space and time on your calendar. Maybe you need to let somebody be disappointed. That's a hard one, right? That's a boundary being enforced. Maybe we need to admit that something you wanted 5 years ago isn't what you want anymore. And that's okay. Doing a life audit like this, doing an evaluation, allows you to see your life for what it is right now. Not what you think it should be, but what it is right now. So then from that information, we can move forward. And remember, even though I said 7, you can't vote yourself a 7 because 7 is like, it's fine. And that's where you start thinking fine. Sometimes the thing standing between you and the life that you want isn't a lack of information. I find for most people, it's not a lack of information. It's a decision that you haven't been willing to make because you don't feel ready to do the thing to get to that 10, right? Or just to get to that next number. And this is just the human experience. So when I'm sharing these things with you, like I go through some of these same things. There have been times I've just not been willing to make that decision because I know what's on the other side of that decision, right? But it doesn't change the fact that you're stopping yourself short of what you would rate excellence or a 10. Again, excellence is different than perfection. We're striving for excellence in these areas. What would excellence look like in your health? What would excellence look like in your marriage? So the decision that you've been putting off in that area is what's keeping you, right, from taking the actions, just deciding that I'm going to go for that because I'm grateful for where I am and what I have now, but I also want more. I think as women, we really struggle with that, wanting more and giving ourselves permission to want more. Hey, friend, let's talk. It's time to book your clarity call. We are going to spend 1 full hour focused on you. A clarity call isn't about pressure. It's about possibilities. It's about you. You having a space to talk through what's on your heart and mind, you walking away with a clear vision and practical next steps, and you feeling confident in what's next and how to get there. You don't need to have it all figured out. That's my job. All you need to do is show up and we'll figure it out together. This is the best hour you can invest in yourself right now. Not in 6 months from now, not next month, right now. And don't just take my word for it. Here's what one of my coaching clients had to say after working together.
I honestly cannot say enough positive things about coaching with Martine. From the very first session, I knew this was something different. The deep dive into who I am and why I operate the way I do per the ProScan results has helped me immensely and allowed me to embrace my unique qualities on various levels. I would 1000% recommend hiring her for whatever level of transformation you're looking for.
That transformation, it starts with one conversation. It's time to stop spinning your wheels and start making real progress. So head right now to martinewilliams.com or in the show notes and grab your private clarity call spot on my calendar before they're gone. And since I personally monitor my inbox, if you don't see a time slot that fits your calendar, just send me an email at martinewilliams.com with 3 times that do work, and I will make it work for you. All right, friend, let's get back to the show. So what are you tolerating because it's not that bad? That's another question I want you to sit with. What are you tolerating because it's not bad enough to change? And that's a different question, isn't it? Because we're usually waiting for the pain to become big enough to justify the action. I've always said that. When the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change, you make the change. The business has to become unbearable before we change how we're running it. We have to become exhausted before we protect our energy, right? When I am working with a client who's in burnout, they all have different pain tolerances. We all have different pain tolerances. And some people, the minute they start feeling burnout, they're into like repairing that and reversing that. And there's other people that, and I could put myself in this category sometimes, I'm just so super hard-headed and I'm super like self-sufficient and I can do this. And like I have to become completely exhausted this is the old Martine before I would do anything to protect my energy. I'm all about prevention these days. But like the relationship has to feel disconnected before we have the conversation, or we have to completely lose ourselves before we decide it's okay to make space for ourselves again. And why? Why does it have to get to a one or a two or a three before we're willing to address it? Sometimes there just isn't crisis. Like there are women that come into my coaching, they're not in crisis. They just know there's something off. They're at that seven. They're like, I know that there's more, but I'm not really sure. Like I've gotten myself from a three to a seven on my own, and now I need some support getting to that 10. So sometimes there isn't a crisis. Sometimes there's just a quiet knowing. And like, I don't want to keep doing it this way. And I want you to know, like, that can be this, like, the softest whisper. And in a noisy world, it gets pushed down. But I want you to lean in on that because that's enough. You don't need a breakdown to make a change. You don't need everyone else to understand it either. And you definitely don't need to wait until you're miserable to decide you want something more. But because of the way the brain works, sometimes that's what happens because change is uncomfortable. Going from a seven to a 10 is going to require you to do something different or do more of something. And your brain's like, hold up, wait a minute, we're doing enough. We're good. We're just fine. But you know, because you have that inner knowing, that there's more there. There's more for your marriage. There's more for your parenting. There's more for your business. And there's nothing wrong with you wanting more. Nothing wrong with you wanting more. This is self leadership. This is what self leadership looks like to me. It's not having everything figured out. It's not controlling every part of your life. It's being willing to pay attention to yourself, to your energy, to what matters to you, to what's working and what isn't, to what you keep saying you want, but you aren't making room for it, right? I was just having this conversation with a client who is in leadership, and she was talking about a member of her team who says they want this, like they're dreaming big and they want this, but their actions aren't displaying that they want it. They're saying it with their mouth, but they're not actually taking the actions. So you can't keep saying you want something, but then you're not making room for it. That doesn't match up. That's not going to get you there, right? That's just like living in the wishful thinking, right? That's living on hope and a prayer. We have to actually lead ourselves and be willing, number one, to tell yourself the truth, and then deciding what you're going to do with that truth. Because awareness without action doesn't change much. You can have all the awareness in the world, and that is the place you have to start, is be aware. And then you have to be in acceptance that this is where you are without shame. And then you take action. You could know your health is a five for 3 years, the next 3 years. You can know your business is taking too much from you. You can know you miss having fun. You can know you're craving connection. You can know there's something you want to pursue. And at some point, knowing has to become choosing. Knowing has to go from like intending to do something and actually prioritizing the action. So I want to again make it really clear that I'm not asking you to create some fantasy life where every category is a 10 every single day. That's not real life. There will be seasons when your business needs more from you. There'll be seasons when your family needs more from you. There'll be seasons when your health needs to become a priority. Life moves. So the goal isn't perfection. The goal is self-leadership. It's living your life with intention and purpose versus either striving for perfection or letting yourself off the hook. It's being able to look at your life and say, I know what matters to me in this season, and the way I'm spending my time and energy reflects that. Like, there's no better feeling than to know, like, I know this is what is most important to me right now. And then your calendar reflects that you're actually doing those things. So with a lot of my clients, this is something that we're working on and building their own self-trust is to be the woman who does what she says she's going to do it when she says she's going to do it because it matters to her in this season. So we can't be operating just from our feelings because I can tell you, even recording this podcast episode or showing up for work this week has been challenging because I physically don't feel good, right? But I know what matters to me is being consistent in my business. And side note, as soon as I get done recording the podcast or get off a coaching client call, I'm taking care of myself. So I'm not sacrificing myself. But what I'm saying is it's really empowering to become a woman who holds her own integrity and does what she says she's going to do when she says she's going to do it. And I think there's nothing more disempowering than to be continuing to talk about the things that you want to do, but you're not actually doing it. So it's very different from accidentally waking up 6 months from now exactly in the same place because nothing ever felt bad enough to change, right? And I just want you to think about that. How can you go from where you are now to where you want to be? What does that look like? Do you know what a 10 looks like for you in your marriage? Do you know what a 10 looks like for you in your business, in your own health? So I want you to give yourself 15 minutes and I want you to take out a piece of paper and I want you to write down the major areas of your life, your business, your marriage, or relationship, your friend, your family, your friends, your health, your faith, your finances, your fun, your own personal development. And I want you to rate each one from 1 to 10 and then choose one. Not all 10, one. Look at the number that is probably the lowest. It's a great place to start. Why did you give it that number? Why did you rate it that way? And what would make it 1 point better? And then the most important question is, what decision or action are you willing to take to move it? Not someday, not when things calm down, not when you feel more ready. What can you do now? Because sometimes changing your life doesn't start with a giant leap. That's where I think we get overwhelmed. Is not only do we try to get to a 10 in the one area, we're trying to get to a 10 in all the areas. And that's just not real life. So it starts by being honest enough to admit that this is good and I want it to be better, right? 7 is good, 6 is good, and I want it to be an 8. I want it to be a 9. I want it to be a 10. So this is actually one of the things that we're going to be doing together inside the collective. We're not coming into that room assuming your life is falling apart. It's actually quite the opposite. There will be women in that room who have built successful businesses and careers, incredible families, and really good lives. And you're ready to ask, what do I want now? What's next? So we're going to use a life audit to look honestly at what's working, what's not, and what deserves your attention in the season. And then we're going to combine that with what we discover through your personality blueprint experience to build out your personalized energy management plan. So you don't leave knowing, yeah, I probably need to change some things. That's very vague. You will leave with a clear understanding of yourself, what matters to you, and what you're going to do with that information when you go home. So if you've been thinking about joining us, this is the week, this is the day, today is the day for you to register and reserve your seat. If you live out of town, get in the car, book the hotel room, get your business bestie, get your best friend, bring them with you. If you're local, same thing. You might want to get a hotel room so that you can really focus over those, day and a half, 2 days together, just on you. But this is the room for clarity, for confidence and connection. This is the time. There's no better time than today to focus on yourself, to realign yourself, to recalibrate, to answer the question, what's next? What do I want now? You don't have to wait for your life to become a 3 for you to decide that you want more. 7 can be good, and you can be grateful for the 7. But if something in you knows there's more available to you, I want you to pay attention to that. It might be time to find out what's keeping you from your 10. And that's what the collective is going to do. So you can go to martinewilliams.com/the collective 2026. The link will be in the show notes. And I'm believing in you always. And I'll catch you on our next episode. Well, that's a wrap, friends. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I really hope it met you right where you are and gave you some encouragement for your day. Could you do me the biggest favor and leave me a rating and review? Seriously, it's the best way for you to support the show. And while you're there, be sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Thanks again. And until next time, I am believing in you always.